This is Eric from Longbox Review at longboxreview.wordpress.com, and this is The Gutters, where I talk about whatever I feel like talking about, which may or may not be comics related. So I was hoping to have a new regular episode out this week, but time kind of got away from me because I was, well, one, being lazy, and two, I was preparing to migrate some stuff from my very old blog that I never do anything with. It's been my digital space since I want to say the mid-90s, I think. And I've decided that I will not renew my subscription to my ISP, which means I'll lose that digital space later this summer. So I've been migrating the things that I have on that page, that web page of mine, to my personal WordPress page, which is not the Longbox Review page. It's a different one. And so I've been moving the mostly it's a collection of my short fiction and some essay type stuff, and the old GURPS supplement for Highlander that me and Travis created many years ago. So I put all that stuff on Kayne.wordpress.com. That's QAYNE.wordpress.com. And that's all up now. So that's what I've been doing this week in the evenings after work, which is why I didn't put out a new regular episode of the Longbox Review podcast. So what you get is this one. And while doing this migration, I started to think about something. And it also has to do with my daughter a little bit, because she just graduated a few weeks ago from college, from the University of Idaho, which is where I got my master's degree, which relates to what I'm going to talk about in just a second. And so I was thinking about her and the degree that she received, which was BFA in musical theater, where she focused mostly on the vocal side of things. And so she's developed that talent, she's developed those skills over many years, even before she went to college. And so she's a performer. She has art. She works at her art. She plays the piano, she sings, she can dance a little bit, which I really, really wish she would do more of. Oh well. Dad can't get everything that he wants out of his kid sometimes. Darn kids. But all that got me thinking about that and me migrating my old fiction onto this new digital space. Just got me thinking about my art. I think I mentioned this on the podcast before, but I used to write stories, short stories specifically. My master's thesis was a collection of short stories set in an original superhero universe. The title of that was Alter Ego, which I'm particularly proud of. That's probably the best work I've done. And ever since I started writing, which was, I want to say 1980, 81, maybe as late as 82, I think. I mean, and that first story was horrible, but that's beside the point. Anyway, so I used to write, is my point. And somewhere in the last 10 years, I kind of stopped. Not kind of, I did. I've played with it a little bit. There's a couple story ideas that I think are potential novels. And of course I want to do superhero stuff because that's what I love. And that's what I started out doing. I think there's a niche, whichever word that's supposed to be. I think there's a niche for quality literary type stories set with a superhero setting that I don't think I've seen yet. Most of the prose, superhero prose that I've read in the past tend to skew towards the satirical, towards the tongue-in-cheek type stuff, which is okay. There's nothing wrong with that, but that's pretty much all I read. I don't really read serious superhero fiction that isn't, more adventure-based, basically a comic without pictures. Anyway, keep going off on these tangents, which I guess that's going to be a danger here as I drive, as I'm talking and driving. Don't do it, folks, unless you're really good at it. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes. So I'm thinking about all this stuff and about my art and how I don't do it anymore. I've put a lot of time and energy into a few things. One is I play twice a week. Well, I was anyway. It hasn't been happening lately. But I played twice a week this MMO RPG game called The Secret World with some friends of mine. And so we spend approximately 4 hours a week playing that game. Sometimes a little bit more. And I enjoy it a lot. And then the rest of my time, when I'm not spending time with the family, which I've been doing a lot of recently, just hanging out and watching stuff, and it's getting to be summer now, so we start to do more things later in the day and outside and all that stuff. So I spend less time inside doing these things. And these things are, I spend a lot of time working on the Longbox Review blog to prepare posts and come up with things to post there. And then also the podcast. I also do some videos on occasion. I was experimenting with that a little bit more for a while there, and I decided that I much prefer the audio side of things because I can edit it much easier and I have more control over that. And so I just decided that I would focus more on the podcast. And hence, that's why you get the gutters now on occasion as well. So I put a lot of time into that, and I absolutely love that. I really do. But I'm starting to wonder about, again, this art thing and contributing to, and this is going to sound really like I'm full of myself, but contributing to society in some fashion, some form. So what can I do? Well, I could talk about comics, but that's not really contributing so much to the larger society. And it's just something that I keep thinking about, with my daughter graduating, moving that stuff over, like I said. And I'm getting older, obviously, but I'll be 46 at the end of this year. And I thought that by this time, 20 years ago, I thought at this time that I would have at least a few novels published by now. And guess what? I have nothing. I have nothing to show for it. I have a few things that were published in these magazines. This was 10, 15 years ago, so I haven't done anything in over a decade, almost 2 decades. I haven't done anything, and that really bothers me. I think back, not think back, but I think ahead and wonder what my daughter and my granddaughters, after I'm dead and gone, what are they going to think of me? Are they going to be proud of me for my accomplishments? Well, what have I accomplished? Besides amassing a bunch of comics that my daughter has no interest in as her inheritance. She's told me that. Breaks my heart. Anyway. Besides that, what else have I done? Can they point to something and say, my dad or my grandfather did that? And I have nothing. And it really bothers me. It's really been bugging me lately. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm curious, I don't know how old you are, to the people that listen to these episodes. Do you think about these things? Do you worry about these things? If you're younger, do you worry about those things? I really didn't when I was in my 20s. But obviously now I do. So I don't know. I don't know. It really, really bugs me that I don't have something to point to say I did this, I accomplished this thing. and I tend to focus on my writing as the vehicle for that. And so I guess what I'm saying is I need to kick myself in the ass and get something done, get some words out there, try to get published again, I guess. Because I do miss writing. Just like when I'm not podcasting, I really miss it, and I wish I could do more. But writing is hard, no matter what anybody tells you. Writing a good story is hard work. Well, at least it is for me. And anybody who I know who is a writer or has done some writing in any long-term sense of the word says the same thing. And getting published used to be also hard. But now with the advent of digital publishing, maybe I should try and get some of that old stuff, clean it up maybe, and maybe get that out there digitally as well, just to get, I don't know. I just want to be able to have something in my hands or on the screen or whatever that people can enjoy and just say, I don't know. It's an ego thing. Part of it's an ego thing. I just want to know that I can go to Amazon or I can go into a bookstore and there's a book with my name on it, and I would just be immensely proud of that, and more importantly that my heirs, my kids and my grandchildren, my wife, can say that Eric accomplished this thing and we're proud of him for it. Wow, this really turned into a big ego thing, didn't it? Anyway, this has just been something that's been on my mind for several weeks now. I think, like I said, I think it really started with my daughter graduating from college and thinking about what she's going to do next, especially with her voice talents, her singing, the acting, the dancing, all that stuff that she's doing or has done. What is she going to do? I'm so excited for her, and I look forward to seeing what she accomplishes. And then, of course, like I said, I look at what have I accomplished, and I'm starting to worry about that. I only have another, if everything works out health-wise and everything else, I've only got a good another 20 or so years, maybe a little bit more. My family history doesn't tend to skew towards really old age, surviving into really old age, so I worry about that. I guess, am I making the best of my time on Earth while I'm here? Because, once you're gone, you can't do much, can you? Well, this turned into a real downer. I apologize. But I am curious what you think about this. Do you worry about the same thing? What are you doing? How do you address that? I imagine that the younger generation, and by that I mean anybody who is under the age of 30, probably doesn't worry so much about these things. Probably because they're out doing stuff. And I guess I just need to do more stuff. So, what are your thoughts on this subject? I'd love to hear them. Read them either way. If you'd like, you can leave comments at the blog where this audio thingy is posted. That's a professional term, folks. Or you can send email to longboxreview@gmail.com. There's a myriad other ways that you can get a hold of me. If you go to longboxreview.wordpress.com and click the feedback tab, there's a bunch of other information about how to get a hold of me. Anyway, thanks for listening, everybody. Bye-bye.